going to be a problem, isn't it? I mean, I know, I get it. Puppies are cute, but really, just try to stick with me here. It's important, and this is kind of a trial run for how it's going to go when you go to find your puppy. So the next category is look at the group of puppies as a whole. Don't zone in on that one that's got the cutest coat color or the cutest eyes or whatever else it is. Make sure you hang back and take a look at all of them. Unless there's only one or two there, and then that's fine. But if you have the opportunity to look at the entire litter that your puppy comes from, it's a really good opportunity to pick the best personality. You want to just see how all the puppies interact. You also want to see how all the puppies look. I mean, if you've got a whole bunch of puppies that are this big, and then one that's this big, it could just be the runt of the litter, which I've seen the runt of the litter turn into the biggest dog in the future, but it could mean that there's something underlying going on as well, because there's certain health conditions that can lead to puppies not thriving as well as their litter mates. So it's something to think about. And the other thing you're looking for is there's always going to be some puppies in that litter that are really headstrong and take the lead. And then there's going to be a few that hang back and they're a little more introverted. Then there's those that just kind of fit in the middle and kind of come over and say hey and then go back to playing with the other ones. And so that kind of gives you an indication as to how easy you can train them in the future. Those headstrong ones are going to take a little more work and a lot more patience. The reserved ones are also going to take more work just because you can't really bring out that personality. And those in the middle, there's a good chance that they'll be just kind of even keel and you'll have a little bit of a better time working with them. So take a look at that group before you hone in on one or two that you really want to look at. Okay, focus with me. We're getting to like the most important part, which is once you start looking at each individual puppy. I know this video is a little bit long, but it's really important. So let's look at that. When you go to look at each puppy, make sure you look at a few, but you're basically going to do your own physical exam. That sounds a little bit scary, but it's the best way that you ensure you take home the healthiest puppy possible. So think about it this way. Do it in a system. Start from nose to tail. Take a look at the nose. Make sure there's no green gunk coming out or blood or anything caked on the surface of the nose. Then move back and take a look at the eyes. Same thing. Look for any green discharge, any redness, any swelling, and make sure you look at the pupils and make sure they look like they're a normal size and shape and they're symmetrical. Then take a look at the mouth. Make sure the teeth are coming in. Make sure the gums look nice and pink. If they're really pale, that starts to make me concerned about anemia, which in puppies can come from two primary sources. One is a lot of fleas, and the other is a lot of intestinal parasites. We can get rid of those, but if the puppy's really anemic, it can be an uphill battle. So it's something to think about. The other thing in the mouth to look at is kind of the roof of the mouth. Make sure there's no hole or slit indicating a cleft palate because that can get really complicated. And then we're going to move back to the ears. Make sure there's no gunk, no brown gunk, and make sure that they have nice open ear canals as well. Then kind of feel along their neck, make sure there's no lumps or bumps. Feel their front legs, make sure all their joints move as they should. And when you're watching your puppy move around on the ground, make sure that the front legs and the back legs are symmetrical. You don't want to see one that turns out to the side and your puppy's not trying to be Michael Jackson with some new dance move. It may have what we call an angular limb deformity. Now, there are a few breeds like Dachshunds and Basset Hounds where their breed just, it's part of them, that angular limb deformity, but it'll be the same one side to the next. So I have a Dachshund and we call it seal feet. It's where his front legs just kind of turn out a little bit like that. And so for them, that's normal, but you definitely don't want to see one leg that's longer than the other, one leg that's facing one way and the other one's not. So keep an eye out for that. And then just look at your puppy's skin in general. You can find evidence of fleas if you see little kind of gritty black dirt is what it looks like. We call it flea dirt. It's really digested blood and it's flea poop. as gross as that is, but that's what it is. And look for any kind of pimples or pustules or any kind of flaking skin in particular areas that might indicate a skin infection. And just take an overall look at your puppy, make sure it's the same size as most of the other ones, and overall looks healthy. You want to feel along the belly or the abdomen, and make sure you don't feel something soft and squishy that you can push in and out. It's not some kind of little like whack-a-mole toy. That's probably a hernia, which is pretty easy to fix for a spay procedure or a neuter procedure, but it usually is an added expense that you need to think about. So those are the highlights, and it's your way of making sure that you pick a healthy puppy, and a lot of kind of the more nitty-gritty details will be evaluated by your veterinarian, like heart and lungs, temperature, things like that, but it's a good first start for sure. I'm glad.